Hi, I'm Matt Hutcheson with Seed Consultants. I'm the product manager, and this is the first video of our video series this year. We plan to travel around the state of Indiana looking at different aspects of the growing season, different agronomic issues and management practices. Today we're going to start in Wells County, Indiana, and we're hoping to accomplish looking at some planting conditions, looking at soil temperature, soil moisture, and making some recommendations over the next few weeks in terms of field work. Traveling here today, I've not seen a lot of planted ground. It appears there is some corn in the ground, but there's still some field work that needs to be done. It seems like the field conditions may be a little bit wet, but starting to dry out. So today we're starting to see a significant amount of tillage and some spraying going on as well. So I brought a soil probe with me today to test the temperature. Right here at the 2-inch depth, it's reading 62 degrees. And in another field we checked earlier this morning, it was 59 degrees. So that's important to keep in mind because corn requires at least 50-degree soil temperatures for germination process to start, and soybeans require 54 degrees. So right now the soil temperatures are adequate, high enough to get good germination started for growers to start planting today. The important thing also to keep in mind with the weather over the next few days is that on Thursday and Saturday and Sunday there's some cooler wet weather in the forecast with some rain that could cause issues with germination. The important thing for germination is to have the seed in the ground 24 to 48 hours before a severe event that could cause stress. That first 24 to 48 hours is when both corn and soybean seed is sensitive to cold stress. But once you get beyond that, it's much less likely to affect the seed. So when you're thinking about planting this time of year, if you see in the forecast a cold weather event, make sure you're planting well enough ahead of that to get your seed off to a good start, get it germinated before that potential stress may arrive. If not, if you plant right before cold rain or right before some really cold weather, you could end up with some stress that will reduce stands, may cause some germination issues and some injury to seedlings, and ultimately reduce yield. One other aspect of spring we wanted to discuss today is planting depth. For soybeans, we would recommend a 1 to 1.5 inch planting depth. For corn, a minimum of 1.5 inches. 1.5 to 2 inches is optimum. Some farmers have seen a benefit from going deeper, as much as 2.5 to 3. But if you plant corn shallower than that 1.5 inch depth, you could end up with uneven emergence, with floppy root or rootless corn syndrome, some standability issues, and ultimately a yield loss later on in the year. Another issue, because of the mild winter and some of the warmer conditions we've had this spring, that growers will need to be paying attention to is potential pests and disease problems. One possible issue is a higher incidence of armyworm moths and armyworms occurring this spring. Also, potential black cutworm issues as well. It's always important for growers to scout fields and be aware of thresholds and be prepared to make rescue treatments if necessary. With looking forward at the colder, wet weather we may see in the next week or so, diseases for seedlings may be an issue as well. Seedling blights and diseases such as Pythium could cause problems and reduce stands. That's why it's always important to make sure that seeds are planted into ideal conditions, given a chance to germinate before those adverse conditions, and also as a reason why it's very important to make sure you're using quality premium seed treatments to protect that seed early in the spring. So when we look at weed control for 2017, we first want to start out the spring with a weed-free field. So whether that includes tillage or a burn down in no-till situations, it's important to get ahead of the weeds early and keep them from developing. If you're going out to apply a burn down or even posting, you want to get control of those weeds when they're at that 4-inch height. A pop can height is really a good rule of thumb. So make sure you're spraying weeds when they're short. Keep them from growing. If they get much taller, it can be hard to control them. Also, you want to make sure you're using a full program, so a burn down with residuals. Make sure you're using multiple modes of action. We've got several weed species out there, whether it's mare's tail or the pigweed species that have developed resistance to different modes of action. So if you're using multiple modes, you'll have a better chance of controlling everything and also a better chance of stopping the development of further resistance. I'm Matt Hutcheson with Seed Consultants. Thanks for watching this video. We look forward to another update in early May on planting, and have a safe and productive spring.